Hey guys, so the video for this week, I decided since it's close to Halloween, why not put together a list of Halloween movies that I watch every year. Yeah, 13 movies. I decided on 13 since like 13 is the unlucky number and there's like 13 days of Halloween. It's on like ABC Family or Freeform, whatever it is now. So yeah, I put together 13 movies that I watch. Some of them are series of movies, so but I put together in 13 points. So let's jump into it. So the first movie that I want to talk about is Hocus Pocus. If you have not seen Hocus Pocus, I don't know how you have not seen it after all these years. Has some great actors in it. Very 90s, like extremely 90s. Like the beginning, the new kid comes in and they call him like LA kid or something like that because he has tie-dye and he moves to Connecticut or Massachusetts where Salem is, like all that stuff, or wherever the witch trials were, and it's somewhere in New England, and like they make fun of him because he wears a tie-dye shirt and only people from California wear tie-dye shirts. But very very 90s. Disney made it and has Bette Midler, Sarah Jessica Parker, and I always forget her name, but she's the other witch and she was like in Sister Act. But she's in a lot of things. Oh gosh, I always forget her name. But one of my favorite movies. It's a classic movie. The Sanderson sisters are great and they are iconic. Very, very funny. Definitely the best part is Thackeray, which if you don't know who Thackeray is, he's the cat in the movie, but he was transformed into a cat when he was like lived in like early settlement of America times to prevent his sister from dying by the hands of the Sanderson sisters, and he was turned into a cat, and he's a cat in the most of the movie. But him before the cat, he was like my crush whenever I started watching this in like middle school. Was like, wow, he was like, yeah, childhood crush right there. But yeah, highly recommend Hocus Pocus if you haven't seen it. The second one I want to talk about is Scream. If you've never seen Scream and you like horror movies, watch it. I have talked to so many people who are in film and they say it just transformed the horror genre and reinvented it. Especially people who are diehard horror fans of like John Carpenter and Wes Craven, all that. Like they love like slasher horror films, and I don't like it. I don't like those movies, but this is one of the funniest scary movies. It's just like it plays on the tropes of horror movies. Neve Campbell is like amazing in this movie. She's definitely a scream queen. A lot of totally 90s actors are in this movie, like ones that really didn't do anything after the 90s. And of course, if you watch Riverdale, the guy who plays F.P. Jones, he is in it. It's him in his younger years, but he plays Sid's boyfriend and he is really attractive in this movie. I know I'm talking about like a lot of attractive men in each movie, but sometimes when you watch a scary movie, that's the only thing you can hold on to. And then the third one is Rope by Alfred Hitchcock. If you have seen Psycho or The Birds, you might like this one. I mean, it's the same director, but it's very different. This is more of like a thriller. Like, you know what happens in the beginning. It's kind of like, okay, these two guys, they commit murder. They kill one of their fellow students. Like they're in like in college or something like that. And they hide his body in the apartment. And they invite the guy's friends and family over for a dinner. Like that night. And it's just super like thriller, like are they gonna find out, you know, what's going on. One of his best movies, I think one of the most underrated best movies. I mean I love all of his other movies. Notorious is one of my favorites because I love Ingrid Bergman and Rebecca's amazing, but this just has Jimmy Stewart in it, so if you love Jimmy Stewart, big recommend. But it's so good. I can't even, there's not enough words to describe this movie, but yeah, definitely should be on your Halloween watch list. Number 4 is kind of a 2-for-1 deal. Is the Addams Family, both 1 and 2, the 90s live action ones. You've got to watch it if you haven't. But most people probably watch some of it, but really, really good, and I just like, oh, it's so funny and so dark. The Addams Family is something I think you could watch with like middle schoolers, maybe late elementary, and Gomez and Morticia are like goals. Like, I love them so much. I think they're such an underrated couple. Like, not enough people talk about it. So yeah, both 1 and 2. There's like, none is better than the other. I think they're both like in the same vein. Number 5 is Young Frankenstein, which is by Mel Brooks, who did like Robin Hood Men in Tights and the producers, like all that stuff. I will warn you, it's like it's in black and white, which shouldn't be an issue, but a lot of people start watching the movie and they see it's in black and white and they're just like, ugh. But honestly, don't let that deter you. It's such a good movie. It was made in the 70s, has Gene Wilder in it, the dad from Everybody Loves Raymond, Madeline Kahn, who is a huge like comedian actress back in the 70s and 80s and a little bit 90s. Just a like A+ cast, so funny. It pokes at the Frankenstein story and like makes it just funnier, and the guy who plays Igor is hysterical. I always forget the actor's name, but he is just like the best character in the entire, he steals the show. I love watching it every single year. I started watching it back in middle school because my friend had it and I just never watched it. I always watched Robin Hood Men in Tights. I was like, that one and Spaceballs were the only 2 Mel Brooks movies that I really could watch. And back in middle school my friend introduced me to this movie and I can never get enough of it. It's so funny. Then number 6 is Casper. I think everybody's seen Casper, the one with Christina Ricci. I think it's Christina Ricci. But honestly, one of my favorites. I love just watching it every single year. It's a great scary kids movie, I think. Very cute. I think it's Bill Pullman and plays the dad, which is actually really funny. I never noticed that as a kid, but yeah. Then later on, it's like, there's some actually big actors' names in that movie. But also, the guy who plays the real life action Casper, whenever he turns into a human, he was also a childhood crush of mine. It's just a good movie. Good movie. Number 7, it's The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, which I know is like, it's a kid's thing, but it's a really cute kid's little short. It's like 30 minutes or something like that. I watch it every single year. I watch it with my niece and nephew now, and it's just like, it's like it brings back those childhood feelings of like, you're snuggled up on the couch and you're watching it, and you have a little bowl of popcorn, and like you're gonna get some cookie dough ice cream and have a little bit of juice because you had enough water for dinner, you know, because you have to have a certain amount of water. But gosh, it's so good. It's really good. Just Charlie Brown anything. I mean, it's classic, and it's a classic cartoon too. But I think my favorite part is when Snoopy pretends to be the Red Baron, and then he comes into the Halloween party, and what's his name? Gosh, he plays the piano. But the kid who plays the piano, he starts playing the World War I songs, I think. I think it's the World War I. No, it's the World War II ballads, I believe. And he like, in Snoopy's, he will start dancing with the jaunty, like the happy songs, and then when he gets the sad songs, he starts crying, and it's so funny. And every single year I laugh so hard. I have to pause it and then rewatch it again because it's great. That's great stuff. You can't replicate that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's also a really good one that you can watch with kids. And then number 8, coincidentally, I put this as at number 8, and didn't realize there's 8 films in the series, but Harry Potter. You just gotta watch Harry Potter. There's always something happening at Halloween. Even if you read the books, there's always something happening at Halloween. It's so funny. In like the first 2 films, there's some great comedic relief. And then for some reason in the 6th film, there's some great comedic relief, and then it gets super dark. The films are really good to watch during Halloween, and if you want to pull like an all-nighter, you can watch all 8 films and within 24 hours. I think it's like, runs up to 22, 23 hours. You can do that, so why not? If you're not in school and you just want to do something crazy. And then number 9, which is actually a new favorite of mine, within the past like 5 or 6 years actually, is Practical Magic, and that has Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman, and it is about these two sisters who are witches. Like their lives get hectic and like something happens within one of the sisters' lives that affects them both, and I don't want to give anything away, but it is really good. Sandra Bullock in like her younger years doesn't get talked about enough, I don't think. I mean, like Hope Floats was of course one of the best movies because her and Harry Connick Jr. are iconic, but this, I didn't know she made this movie for so long, and then when I found it I was like, where's this been my entire life? Because I love the idea, a storyline of like two sister witches type of thing. I think this just like, it's a really great idea for a story, and I just fell in love with this movie, so great movie. And then number 10, I watch this movie more during Christmas time, but because this is a Halloween list, or a Halloween movie list, I decided to throw it in anyway, so this kind of go to 13, but I don't know why I'm holding this. It is Gremlins. I watch Gremlins for like during Christmas time because it's more of a Christmas movie for me, but I guess you could watch it during Halloween because it has some scary elements in it. It's kind of like a Nightmare Before Christmas where you can watch it at Halloween or you can watch it at Christmas. This is one of Jim Henson's like solo projects that he did. I mean, it turned into a series, but it's not like the Muppets or anything or Sesame Street or something like that, but it's a little bit more like dark. Like I was watching it last year with my mom and I was like, oh my gosh, like there's some really dark storylines in the movie for it being like geared towards kids back in the 80s, which I don't know how. It was like, it's a really dark movie, but really funny. There's a part where the Gremlins are taking over and they're in the bar, and I just remember last year I was laughing so hard. There's something really comedic about Muppets, like little puppets doing something that it, like smoking a cigar and drinking beer is just really funny to me. And then number 11 is one I don't just watch it during Halloween, I watch it throughout the year too, whenever not whenever I can, but whenever I feel like it. But definitely during Halloween is Shaun of the Dead, and it is an Edgar Wright film. If you've heard of Baby Driver and you like Baby Driver, I recommend this movie. If you like Baby Driver and you like horror movies, I recommend Shaun of the Dead. It's a really funny take of Dawn of the Dead. A little bit. It's like those, like the old Romero zombie movies. It's really funny. It has Simon Pegg and Nick Frost, and they're just like two bums, I guess. They're just like, they're regular people, and the zombie apocalypse happens, and they just have to like, it's like they have to survive, and it's really, really funny. Yeah, you just need to watch it. Like, I don't want to give anything away. I don't want to give any bits away or anything like that, but it is really funny. It's rated R, so there is some gore like that. I'm not too big on zombies. I don't like that kind of stuff, but this was great. Laughing so hard. Yeah. Perfect balance of horror and comedy. And then number 12, I had to add this because it was a Halloween movie for me growing up. If you're older than the age of 22, 23, like you're in your mid-20s, late 20s, early 30s, you would remember a movie on Disney Channel called Phantom of the Megaplex. And it's like a ripoff of Phantom of the Opera and Phantom of the Paradise, which, I mean, Phantom of the Paradise is a ripoff of Phantom of the Opera, but I think Phantom of the Paradise is an entity of its own because of how much of a cult classic it is. But basically this kid works at a movie theater and it's haunted by the Phantom, who's like trying to save the movie theater from like the big corporation guys or something like that. But I just remember Mickey Rooney was in it, and it was like one of the first DCOM movies. Besides like Under Wraps, that was like a Halloween movie, which I watched Under Wraps once when I was like way too young and it freaked me out as a kid. And I love Phantom of the Megaplex just because it has movie theaters and there was a Phantom. It was kind of scary, you know, but yeah, if you were not old enough to watch it at the time, watch it. You could probably find it online somewhere or watch some clips from it. It's really funny, really cheesy, and just like has classic DCOM feels to it. And number 13, which is going to conclude this video, is I think the classic Halloween movie. It is a perfect mixture of horror and comedy of what they could do back in the 1940s, and it has an all-star cast involving Lon Chaney Jr. and Bela Lugosi. And if you don't know who those people are, they're some of the most iconic horror actors. Bela Lugosi played the original Dracula and Lon Chaney Jr. played the original Wolfman. And it has Abbott and Costello, who are a comedy team. And if you don't know who those people are, please look them up. They're so funny. Classic bits like Who's on First, that's what they're known for. And this movie is called Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. And I think this movie was one of my favorite scary movies as a kid. Yeah, that's all I have to say. It's a really good movie, one of my favorites. I have probably watched this movie so many times, I can't even count. But yeah, so that concludes my list of movies to watch this Halloween. I'll close this out with, make sure you like this video, subscribe, let me know what your favorite Halloween movies are, if you like Halloween movies, if you're just waiting for Thanksgiving and Christmas, whatever. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and Twitter, which will be linked down, or my handles will be in the description box below. Follow me on Patreon, which will also have the link, not the link, but like the address in the description box. Because if you like these videos, please help me out on Patreon so I can make more of these videos. Also, have a good day.